Welcome back to Wow Drama Stories, where you get all the drama from a safe distance. In today's story, Opie took in some of his family members 2 years ago, but he can no longer afford to support them. And he's wondering if he would be the a-hole if he were to kick them out, and we've got a full update on that. Let's get to it. Opie writes, "Hi Reddit, I have a wife and 3 kids. The title is not referring to them. Let's begin. 2 years ago, my wife and I bought a house. It's relatively large and spacious and also includes a guest house. It is also our first house. I was the first one in my family to buy a house, as we've never had that before. Both mine and my wife's family grew up very poor, and we managed to get ourselves into a relatively comfortable lifestyle, having successful careers. At the time, my mother and her boyfriend were living in a pretty bad area. Just months before we moved, they had a kid gunned down right in front of their apartment. So I told my mom I'd get her out of there as soon as I was able to. We got the house, and I moved her into the guest house immediately. After crunching the numbers on bills, we settled on $1,200 a month flat rate for her and a boyfriend to stay with us, which overall is cheaper than their old apartment. A couple of months go by at the new house, and my wife's dad loses his job. Well, we had a spare bedroom and moved him in with us free of charge so he could get on his feet. About 6 months into the new house, my sister gets really sick and can no longer work. She and her 3 boys move in. I am now supporting an entire second family who is living with me for free, plus my wife's dad who is now working. 2 years later, all of them are still living with us. A year ago, my mom informed me that her and her boyfriend couldn't afford the $1,200 rate we agreed to and asked to lower to $800 a month. I agreed. My sister still can't work. However, she also has substance abuse issues, which I believe is causing, or at least definitely not helping, with her ability to work and her sickness. I have already had to kick her out once, but my mom insisted that she move back in because she's worried if we don't take care of her, then she'll end up dead somewhere. My wife and I have been together for 7 years. One of the goals we set was to ensure our kids do not grow up like we did in poverty. We managed to achieve that and get a dream house. However, have not had any chance to actually enjoy the house to ourselves because there are so many people. My kids barely have space of their own in this house we bought for them to do just that. I just got an email this morning that electricity rates have doubled in my renewal notice. Gas and groceries are up. Natural gas is up on the house. My mom is the only one contributing, and my wife and I are going crazy. I'm planning a family meeting tonight with everyone to talk, but I want everyone gone. My mom's boyfriend makes decent money as well. She will be taken care of. My wife's dad has a job. I'm sure he'll be fine. My sister and her boys are the only ones I'm worried that I'm kicking out to the streets. I know this is probably going to be a huge argument, and chances are I'm going to alienate my sister and my mom by doing this. Would I be the a-hole? No, Opie, I do not think you are the a-hole at all, and kudos to you for being able to get to this point in your life where you and your wife can afford a nice house. And of course you want to enjoy that house now, I understand that. And it's a good thing that you helped your family. That's something never to regret. But yeah, it is time for people to move on and to let you to your house. But let's see what other people have to say. Someone comments, "Not the a-hole. At this point, you're being taken advantage of. You need to put you and your family, wife and kids only, first. You probably will get flack from your sister. You've made things so easy and cheap for her. She doesn't want to change. She needs rehab and to get herself in check. You are not responsible for her or her kids. It also sounds like you may be a people pleaser and not great at setting boundaries with family. That's a long time to get no rent and pay for all these expenses for that many people. You were very generous, but now it's time for everyone to go and figure things out themselves. I'd reconsider allowing yourself to ever be in that sort of situation again, respectfully. And to this, Opie replies, "Thank you. I just wanted to help. But I do at this point feel like it's too much. I agree with your assessment, and I should not let this happen again." Someone else comments, "Not the a-hole. You have a sister that is freeloading, a father-in-law that should be paying something and isn't, and a mom and her boyfriend that are enabling your sister. You might want to have a big meeting, but this will allow them to gang up on you and it will be 4 against 1. You don't mention how your wife feels. Is she on your side? This is a thing you need to talk with her first, get on the same page and have your ally. Even if she's quiet, it's better that she be in the know on your side than blindsided. Good luck, mate. This is going to be rough." And Opie replies, "Thank you. My wife and I are in agreement on this. If anything, it was me being reluctant to put my foot down. She's been ready for this." And now on to the update from Opie. "Thank you, everyone. For starters, there was a lot of insight given into how other people view the situation, a lot of which I wasn't fully aware of, such as this is still a poverty-level situation for my kids with so many people in the house. You might be a bunch of internet strangers, but I took your advice to heart and held my ground. It took this long for an update because after the first talk with my family, we had several others. I gave everyone 2 months to move out. This seemed like the fairest option to me because while I know they've been with me for 2 years, they clearly were not looking for other options. My sister was heartbroken and upset, but not angry. It really seemed like she understood the situation and that as much as I'd love to help her, it was time for her to move on. She has already found a place to stay for a while with her kids and is working to get back on her feet. She's getting the rest of her stuff out this weekend. My father-in-law was honestly surprised. I guess he wasn't expecting this to happen, even though from the get-go we've been telling him this is not a permanent situation. I haven't seen much of him this last week, and he didn't have much to add to the conversation. During the meeting, he said he would have been fine giving us some money while he was staying here, but I told him he never offered and I never forced him. I was expecting that he was saving up to get a place. I told him to save his money for the move and that he will have up to 2 months like everyone else. My mom and her boyfriend are a bit of a different story here though. I brought them with me to the house to get them out of an already bad situation. The house has a guest house, which is where they stay at. We came to an agreement that she can continue staying in the guest house, but will have to contribute more to the household with bills going up. The guest house is completely separated from the main house, and they are not encroaching on my kids' space. Another agreement that we made is that my sister absolutely cannot stay here, regardless of situation. If she needs financial help to find a place or for her medicine, we will help out from time to time, remotely. It also cannot be so much that she comes to depend on us. But if it were a life or death situation, then we would obviously do right thing there. This may not have been the ending you all were hoping for, but this works for my family, my wife, and my kids. I really do appreciate all of your insight and advice, as it helped me to stand firm with my family and finally do something. We already feel a sense of relief and are excited to finally get the house to ourselves. Thank you all. Well, OP, you handled it very well. Yes, it took 2 years, but you handled it very well. And I'm glad that your family also took it very well. Your father-in-law, maybe not so much, but it sounds like everything is going to work out. But let's get 2 comments with replies from OP before we end off. Someone comments, "One thing that is important for your future and your children, if heaven forbid, something happens to you and your wife. Get a formal tenancy agreement for your mom and boyfriend. It needs to be legally clear she is a tenant. It shouldn't be a big deal. And if you already have one, good looking out." Opie replies, "Thank you. I don't have one, but I will look into it." Let's get a final comment. "Good on you. It sounds like you have a pretty good family, because this is how reasonable people react to boundaries. They talk and communicate and care for each other and don't want to upset each other or enable each other." Usually on Am I the A-hole, it's the people with dysfunctional family that come here. So setting one whole boundary burns down the whole town and everyone throws a fit because they don't care about the boundary setter's feelings. And then the boundary setter has to go no contact because everyone they know is a nightmare. To this, Opie replies, "Well, I'm glad it didn't turn out like that. Everyone took it well and understood our point of view. Thank you." Well, we've come to the end of another Wow Drama story. If you did like this, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload again. Until next time, wishing you a drama-free life.